questions. Welcome everybody to School of Fashion. We're here to answer your questions, and we have a great team of faculty from all three programs. I am Trevenen, and I am Dean of the School of Fashion. I teach mostly in the design area. We also have Catharine Weiss, who teaches in the fashion media and fashion merch, and Tenneh Wilkins, who teaches in fashion design, and Kristin Kinsky, who teaches in fashion merchandising as well. And I'll introduce a little bit about myself for a minute or two, and then each person will tell you a little bit about the people that you'll be working with when you take class here. I've taught at Lasell for 9 years, and before that I taught at Mass Art for 10, and always taught in design, and so I've taught in design for almost 20 years now, and I've also worked in fashion industry for 30 years as a designer and in product development, mostly for menswear, but some women's sweaters as well. I next will give you Catharine Weiss, and she will introduce herself.
Hi, thank you so much, Anne. My name is Catharine Weiss. I've been teaching at Lasell for about 11 years, and taught before that for colleges like UMass Dartmouth and Bay State, et cetera, et cetera. Then I also worked in industry for about 15 years, both in Boston and Manhattan. When I worked in industry, my roles were sales and marketing director or manager for several different wholesale companies like Priscilla of Boston, Museum of Fine Arts, Brahmin Handbags, and I did a stint with Liz Claiborne for quite some time. So I teach in fashion media and marketing, and I also teach in fashion merchandising. So I'm sort of focusing on both areas for the time being. I love working with my students, and developing any new projects and ideas I'm very excited about.
Great, thanks. Tenneh?
Hi, everyone. I'm Professor Wilkins. I worked in the industry as a fashion and technical designer for over 10 years. Then later, I ventured off into entrepreneurship and started my own fashion line. That was fun. Currently, I teach draping, apparel construction, pattern making, and digital design. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all pretty soon.
Great, thanks so much, Tenneh. Kristin?
Hi everybody, I'm Professor Kinsky, and I have been teaching at Lasell now for just over 8 years. Prior to coming to Lasell, I worked in industry for, I hate to say this, I feel about 25 years with companies Jones Apparel Group, Macy's, and through those I did a lot of coordinator positions, retail development regional positions, where we worked with a lot of products, a lot of brands, did a lot of training. So had lots of experience, and then coming back to Lasell. I'm saying coming back to Lasell because I actually went to school at Lasell and graduated a long time ago. But I am absolutely thrilled to be back teaching at Lasell. My heart is here. I think we have the best program. Really love Lasell College and really love the fashion department. I teach in the merchandising program, and most often I'm doing the buying class. What else? Fashion 101, Business of Fashion, Fashion 102, sometimes retail management. And I've been super lucky recently to be able to be teaching a Studio 1851 course, which is a store that the students created, the fashion students created. And so I've had lots of fun and interesting experiences with that as we learn to build a business together. That's it. Maybe.
Thank you, thank you. And now we could go on and on about our programs, but we know you all have questions. That's why you're here. So if you type in a question, we will field them depending on which program. And we'd like to answer as many questions as you have. So please feel free to type in questions if you are a guest. In the meantime, while I wait for the questions to come up, I will point out that one of the benefits of our School of Fashion is we have 3 programs that work together. It very much mimics the industry itself, where you're never just working with people that do what you do. You work with people that do all different different aspects of the job to get the product to market, to work with the consumer, to work with the back end, the manufacturing, all of that. So they really see a holistic approach. All right, so first question, are internships considered a job? I am going to answer that quickly by saying yes, because many of our internships are paid, and also we front-end load some of the skills right into the courses. So by the beginning, middle of the sophomore year, students have some hard skills that they can actually get get an internship that would be considered a first job. If they apply themselves, they could graduate either with a full-time job, because one of the internships turned into a full-time job, or the equivalent of 1 to 3 years experience. So they're not entry level anymore. And I think that's really a benefit of having some hard skills early on. Study abroad options. So we have, and that's a very, very tender topic right now, because we have a Paris trip that was just canceled. We were supposed to go to Paris for 2 weeks during Men's Fashion Week, which was also canceled. And the students dress Men's Fashion Week. They study with people in the fashion industry there, in marketing, in merchandising, and also in design. It's a very exciting, jam-packed 2 weeks. Never a dull moment, but it is fantastic. Also, we have agreements and arrangements with London College of Fashion and also Florence University of the Arts, among others. But really, students can go anywhere they want. It's a home tuition model, so they pay tuition at Lasell and go anywhere they want, and we handle everything from that end. Can you speak on Lasell works with fashion merchandising and how students have liked it in the past? Who would like, Kristin, do you want to speak to that on Lasell works, or?
I honestly have not had any students from fashion that I know of yet.
I have actually.
So I can't really talk to that.
Okay, Kathy, do you want to just speak to that? We just started this program, so we
just started the program. So I had a class that I taught online, Fashion to 11, and the students were very involved. They loved the course, and there were students that are just super focused on getting their, being able to work, but then also going through their college degree a little bit quicker than the usual 4 years.
Yeah, it really is formed on working with students where they are, especially if they're going to be home and they want to, we're looking for many, many ways to make this less expensive. Another way that we do this is we've just approved 2 3+1 programs. What that means is students can complete either the fashion media and marketing or the fashion merchandising and management degree in 3 years. And then the additional year, they get a graduate degree, either an M.B.A. for the merchandising program or the Masters of Integrated Communication for the fashion media degree. So that's another option, a way to have 4 years, but to build a master's degree into that. We have another question. I'm a fashion design and production major. What is the hardest class you will have to take? I'm fielding that one to Tenneh. She can tell you all about it.
Well, I don't like to call any classes hard. Just a little bit more challenging, that's all. Not too hard, because most of the programs that we have, I would say all of the programs we have in the fashion program, you'll get support. You'll get support. We love the fact that, I love the fact that the classes are very intimate, and you'll get structured guidance and help, and you'll even receive after class help. So I don't think any of the classes are hard. I will say that some of the students found pattern making to be a little bit more challenging. But at the end of the day, they received help, and at the end, they found that they preferred pattern making over draping. But all in all, I don't necessarily believe that there's a difficult class.
No, I mean, really, it's fueled by people that love design, love it. And you're in a room full of people that are really inspired and excited to be there. So, this is something where, it's a program that has its own energy. We have students that are working just around the clock, really, in Donahue. One thing I'd like to point out is for the person that asked about Lasell Works, please feel free to reach out to Stephanie Williams because she is the director for that program, and she can answer any logistical questions you might have. It's a fairly young program, but we've had a lot of interest and a lot of students sign up for it, and we love it because we really can work with them wherever they are and not have the funding be such an issue, you know, for college education.
We had a question about Polished Magazine and then the fashion show.
Yep, I have a question here. I have a little to none sewing experience. Is it recommended to have some experience in sewing? Tenneh can field that one.
Oh no, you don't need to have experience at all. Like I said, you're going to receive a lot of help, a lot of guidance. And many of the freshman students that do come in, they have no sewing experience, none of that. So that's part of what makes it really fun. You know, you come in, you don't know, but by like the middle of the semester, you're pretty much almost an expert. It's amazing. But no, you don't need experience at all.
Polished Magazine. Someone asked about Polished Magazine. Polished has received awards, the highest awards from the Columbia Scholastic Press Association every single year. They do every bit of the magazine, from the writing, the photo shoots, the styling, and it's about the Boston metropolitan cultural area. It's not about Lasell. So they really get out and about. They connect with people in fashion, but also just people in Boston culture. And it's an amazing magazine. It's really great professional experience and great to have as part of your portfolio and resume. What does freshman year look like in fashion and production, such as class and all? How about Tenneh? You want to direct that a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the freshman year, you start off with foundation courses in the arts and math and whatnot, but then you start off with actually draping. You start off with draping 1 in garment construction. And once again, like I said before, you get a lot of guide with that. But many of the classes are catered to around creating a foundation for you to be set up for your next set of classes throughout the semester. So freshman year is mainly draping 1. The second semester, freshman year, you'll be starting your pattern making, and then you'll be going into garment construction 2 your second semester.
Great, thank you. Caitlin has asked about, can you talk about the fashion show? Who gets to put garments in it and how is it run? Professor Kinsky, would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Our fashion show is a 2-part or 2-day event or 2-evening event. The first night of our fashion show, our underclassmen, our freshmen, sophomore, and junior designers will show what they have been working on. And that's a very exciting, fun event. And then the second night, it's the senior designers. And basically everyone that comes into the design program can show that year. So even as freshmen, you get to show your garments in the show. Again, the Saturday night is just for seniors, and they have a lot more to do with actually putting on the show so that it really reflects who they are. For both nights, we actually have a course, our fashion show production course, which this semester had, let's see, 55 students in it or so. And this course is what puts together the fashion show. So we work with the designers, we work with training the models, and we actually build the sets, we bring the chairs in, we do everything and completely transform the athletic center into a very glamorous, fun, exciting evening. So everyone who comes to our fashion program, whether you're a designer or you're in the media or the merchandising program, everyone touches the fashion show at some point. Did that answer it?
Yes, and that is the largest connected learning event we have at the university, because we have over 200 students that'll participate in it, between the planning, the executing, and the showing. So it's phenomenal. And modeling, a lot of the students model. We have another question. How and when do you pick your classes? Well, your classes get picked at orientation. You'll schedule the orientation through admissions, and they will give you time slots that you can pick, and we'll work with you to make sure that you get the classes you need, both in your major and in the core. And you get a lot of help around this. So it's a fun time also to kind of meet some of the people you're going to be in school with. Orientation is usually a lot of fun. So, oh, I just answered, dismissed, hold on.
I had a question. I saw a question about alums, successful alums.
Yeah.
And I tried to answer it through the typing mechanism, but I thought maybe all of us could list some successful alums that we, that we still correspond with. I answered that. We have multiple examples of success stories just through our LinkedIn profiles that we follow our students once they graduate with all of their jobs. We bring them back in for guest lectures, for our advisory board and things like that. So we're in constant contact with our alums, once they're out there in the industry.
So one thing I'd like to throw out is that we offer our freshmen what we call the Starter Network list. And on that list is a list of alumni mentors that offer to work with our students. So they get a list of people that were in all three majors. So they can pick some of these mentors out and call them about anything. They're in the industry, they've been out there for between 4 and 8 years, and they can ask about classes, they can ask about jobs, they can ask about internships and direction, just get feedback. And we found that that's really helpful. They come and speak at different events so they can get to know them. So there's opportunity there for internship as well, because a lot of time these mentors come in and look for interns because they know exactly what they're getting with a Lasell intern. So we really have a very tight alumni network and really enjoy having those students meet our incoming freshmen. Let me just see. Is the design building open for use even if we do not have a class at that time? In other words, is it available for us to sew when we would like, or can we only do that during class time? Well, Tenneh, I think you could probably speak to the fact that it's a 24/7 kind of place. But
it is a 24/7 kind of place, but after a certain time, you do need to come in with one other person, and you can get campus police to open the building for you. But the lab is available to students 24/7. We have a large lab equipped with industrial sewing machines and irons. And also we have 2 other studio rooms with dress forms and large pattern making table for you to make your patterns and also cut your fabric. And that's available to you 24/7. But when the buildings do close and you do need to get in, you can reach out to campus police to get you there. And you have to be one other person.
Thanks. So someone just asked about how does internship work in fashion design and production. It works the same as all 3 majors. We build your professional portfolio ahead of time and make sure you have skills. We built starting in your sophomore year so that when it comes time for you to look for an internship, starting maybe the summer of your sophomore year or the summer of your junior year or during the school year of your junior year, we can recommend, we know you well enough to know your work, and we can recommend, maybe you should reach out to Nick and Zoe, or do you like sweater knits, or you'd be great in product development at TJX, let's reach out to an alum there, or they maybe reached out to us and they have 5 or 6 positions open. So a lot of times, we work very, very closely with our students, and when they're ready for internship, we teach them how to search and look on their own, but then we also recommend, the many, many connections that we have. What are some of the core classes I would be taking as a fashion, merchandise, and management major? Professor Kinsky, would you like to reply to that?
Sure. When you first start, and that's another thing we love about our program, is that we get you into fashion courses your very first semester. So when you first start, you'll do the business of fashion, and that's for actually media and merchandising students. We do a fashion consumer course because we know in both programs it really is all about the consumer. That's why we're here. Then the buying course is one that if you're in merchandising, you'll take. So that's merchandise planning and control, usually in your sophomore year, although I've had some freshmen in that also. Digital tools for fashion is something you will do. You'll learn some fashion history, marketing classes, visual merchandising, trend forecasting, apparel product development. And we've added some supply chain courses, which are really interesting, and digital commerce and analytics. You'll also do the fashion show with everyone. And then our capstone, which is a pretty exciting course also. I think all of our courses are super relevant and really kind of connected to what's happening out there in industry. And we stay on top of keeping them fresh and new.
That's a great, that really outlines the courses great. Kathy or Professor Weiss, can you address the capstone? Just so,
Yes.
Because that is something, it's a shared between the fashion media and fashion merch students, but we really do this differently. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Having worked in industry and done some consulting and working with different companies, and doing some research on Harvard Business School and schools like Babson, where they work with live companies in the classroom. So I wanted to try to integrate that concept into a capstone class for us. So essentially every semester we offer capstone, and we either work with 2 companies, 1 company, depending on how many students need a project. And essentially the company gives us a list of challenges that they're having. At the beginning of the semester, we have a liaison that we work with for the entire time, and students come up with solutions at the end. So essentially we act as like a mini consulting firm throughout the semester. And it's cool because we are challenged in a number of ways that it's not always, the challenges are not always the same. So the students get to use all 4 years of their, or 3.5 years of their kind of college career and their corporate experience. A lot of our students work part-time, and they integrate all of this into this final project, this final solution. And they have to memorize the entire thing at the end. They go to the actual corporate office to present, and they're graded by executives from the company. And sometimes we're lucky we have alums that are there as well. And it's just an amazing experience because it's live, it's real, it's done in, obviously in real time, and it's real connected learning. And the students walk away with this great piece of, a project that they can add to their e-portfolio. They talk about the experience when they go on interviews with companies, and they have to learn to work together. And that's, the real challenge is they're divided into separate groups depending on their skill sets and the challenges that the companies need us to focus on. But they have to, they work individually in these groups, and then they come together at the end, and they have to learn how to collaborate, how to discuss, how to negotiate, a lot of conflict resolution. And, all in all, it's just, it's been one of the most positive experiences that our students have gone through.
And don't forget, it's a networking opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we've had students in the course we did embedded in Converse that one of them ended up with an internship and then got a full-time job out of it. So it's a chance for them to kind of showcase their skills in front of professionals. We have another, just a segue from that, we have another question from Hal. How feasible is it for a fashion merchandising major to double major? And what are some of the minors that tend to make fashion merch majors more marketable? Professor Kinsky, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, our merchandising students, I guess I usually see it from the other end, people doing a merchandising minor. And that actually was another question that I'll pull into this too. Someone asked if they could, as a design student, do a minor in merchandising. And one of the exciting things now about our 3 programs is that they are different enough that you can actually minor in any of them. So one of my favorite things is when I have design students who actually take up the merchandising minor, so they're getting the business side of it as well as the design. So that's been really fun to get their perspective in the classroom. Other minors that I've had students do are accounting. I actually have a few students doing that. Trying to think, graphic design is very popular with our merchandising students as a minor. What else? The merchandising degree really is a business degree, so we don't do a business minor because that would just be totally repetitive. The merchandising degree is a business degree that focuses on fashion, so you don't need that business minor. But so doing other things, I think those are the big ones that I've seen are graphic design, accounting.
Data science, we just have a new one.
Oh, that's right.
Brand new. Yeah, and really, really exciting. That I think would be great on resumes too.
I know.
We also had we also had a question about fashion media and marketing. They want to hear more about that program.
Yep. I'm just looking. Fashion. Why am I not seeing that? That must be
at the top. It's from a. It's at the very top.
Very top of we've got two lists. But, you know what? If you would like to answer that, there's one question I just want to answer because it's been up a while. Someone asked about fashion design. Can you get your master's through it? We don't have a master's in design, but 2 of the faculty members have M.B.As. So I would recommend, if you're going to do a master's, working, I think, in fashion design is the equivalent of a master's. Go get a master's in something that'll make you more, enhance your ability to lead and be an entrepreneur. So that is, that's kind of the direction I would point to for fashion design. So Professor Weiss, what was the question that you saw?
Just they want more information on fashion media and marketing.
Okay, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, of course. So I think today, fashion media is critical in terms of teaching students how to communicate to consumers and really incorporating great branding strategies for companies, because everything is done, or I shouldn't say everything, but almost everything is done virtually, as we can attest to it right now. Students learn lots of different ways in which they can create content. So essentially content is developing videos or stories, narratives through a website, on an app, through a blog, through a vlog, all of these different ways that we communicate now through the virtual world, and marketing strategies around that. So they would take classes like content creation, digital commerce, and analytics, because analytics is a big part of the way that we track consumer behavior now, right? Every single time you go onto a website or you use an app, there are cookies and things that are tracking your behavior. So companies have access to all of this information. And then digital marketing is a class where the kids actually develop their own apps and they develop their own websites, and they learn how to put together social media strategies. So all of these things, if you look at content and the way that it's diffused through the consumer base, but then also, coming back in from the company, it's just the way that we have to, we do business now. Anything virtual, anything digital, it's part of what retailers have to understand, and they've got to work through. So I think that's, I'm sure you can add some things, Professor.
I'm just thinking that UX has become such a big thing, user experience, and we've recently added a second level of digital tools to include that. And someone asked do we need to bring our own type of tools for freshman year, and do we use Adobe software? And I know they teach UX using Adobe software, but we also use the full Adobe Creative Suite. We teach Illustrator and Photoshop. In design, we also teach InDesign, which is another software. And then in the UX, they use some of the more motion graphics aspects of Adobe software. So yes, it's on all the school computers. Students use it all the time. They are more and more what I would call digitally literate by the time that they get done. So we're almost out of time. So I just want to see if anybody has, an urgent question they want to have answered. And If so, they can ask it. Also, they can reach out to us at any time. I'm A. Trevenen at Lasell, C. Weiss at Lasell, T. Wilkins at Lasell, and K. Kinsky at Lasell. We're on the faculty webpage, and you can ask us anything. We can send you any copy of either the 4-year course plans, frequently asked questions, the starter network list we told you about, things like that. And different career pathways too. We have a whole list of different job titles for every major. We can share those with you. But I don't want to take up time doing that if you have a question, because I know you're all thinking hard about what you're going to be doing in the fall, and I want to make sure you feel comfortable. Does anybody have any other?
Someone did, I thought.
Oh, final projects. I see a final. What do final projects look like for fashion merchandising students?
Final projects, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Are different for every class. Some courses, there's a lot of group projects because we really do stress that out in the industry, you're generally not working by yourself. You're working in teams, or you're working across channels with other people. So we do a lot of final projects. For the fashion show production course, the final project is putting on a fashion show for 700 people for 2 nights. So 1,500 people, that's your final project. For the buy-in course, it's a more individual 6-month plan that you're creating. In the marketing courses, you're doing marketing for different companies, you're doing websites. So it really varies depending on what course you're talking about, but there a lot of group work, and it's a lot of hands-on work with us. We really kind of jump in and we just do things. So that's what most of the final projects are.
Yep. And we like to have final projects that you can show your field, that you can show in a portfolio, that you can discuss in an interview, so that they have relevance. So you're not learning something that nobody's going to care about. You're going to learn something that speaks to your own professionalism, it speaks to your ability, and it makes someone interviewing you be much more comfortable with the idea of hiring you, because you're showing them something that they understand and respond to.
We also have our professional development course that students take, and even sometimes prior to that, students will start creating an online or e-portfolio, where a lot of the projects that we do are things that can end up in that again, so that when you are looking for positions or jobs and you want to show off some of the amazing things that you've done, you have it there. And they're very high quality projects, so they're things that you're proud to show off.
And someone's asking, speaking of portfolios, can we apply for that scholarship freshman year if we miss the application this year? So that I would reach out to your admissions counselor on that. I know we look at it as soon as it comes in, we look at it. I don't know what, personally what that deadline is, but I would reach out to your admissions counselor because they can tell you that right away. So we want to encourage you to put if you have a portfolio and you want to show it for scholarship, definitely. That's for design students. There's another, no, we got to that question. I want to see if there's any other open questions. Different technologies that we saw something on technology. Okay, so we use Lectra, we use Adobe. We also have a service called WGSN that people should be aware of. It's a phenomenal trend forecasting service, but it's so much more than that. The industry uses it, and so right away students come in, and all 3 majors use it to see what it is that companies do when they research, when they build a trend and they want to put a line together and they want to market. What do they draw from? They draw from a service like WGSN. So we have that for students, so they have this professional tool, and it really, they see professional work. So when they create work, it's with a professional standard in mind. It's not going to look homegrown, it's going to look very, very professional. Are there any other questions?
What about, can we mention that we are one of the biggest programs on the campus.
Oh,
So
that's
I know that's
true.
something that I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
And our building, we call it our fashion building. We do share it with some other people, but you know, our design labs take up a great amount of the space. We have gorgeous windows that we use for display and doing different things. And then we're kind of gaining space in different areas. We have a gorgeous fashion collection that isn't quite in a museum yet, but these are artifacts and pieces that we are working on it and turning it into a museum, but we can still use these items for a lot of our class assignments or to really learn about design and construction and fashion history. So have that on our campus. I mentioned Studio 1851 earlier, and that's in another building kind of in the middle of campus. So we're kind of spreading our wings over there with a nice big display window. So, you know, we're taking over the world a little bit and proud and excited.
Yeah. We have over 300 students, I think closer to 350 students out of the total population at Lasell. So it is one of the biggest programs, but you had a small university feel and small classes. So that's really, to have that critical mass means that you get a lot of attention, you get a lot of exposure, and we have a lot of pull in the industry for that. And I think that's important when you're looking at programs to realize how connected is the entity that you're joining. You know, you're joining a group that's really a networking opportunity. How broad are they? You know, and that's something that is really our heart and soul, is we're really embedded in the fashion industry. Someone else asked if I am a fashion merchandising major, should I marketing, should I minor in merch? You can, and I think it's a great idea to see both sides of the business. And there's a series, you know, once you get in, you might look at all the minors and say, you know what, I think I like graphic design, I want to do that. And you might minor in that. That's what a minor is all about. You try something new, you know, and it doesn't mean even if you minor in something, you can't take an elective in something else. So we have a list of suggested electives for every single major. So when people are looking, we can say, hey, you might like this and you might like that. And we just have a list always at the ready. So this is something we foresee with you guys coming in. We're really excited to help you fuel your own enthusiasm and build your skills.
And I would also like to add that all of the professors in the School of Fashion are absolutely amazing and so welcoming. If you have any questions, all of our doors are open. You could go to anyone and ask. If you have anything you're concerned about, we work over the time to help you adjust, especially being a freshman. I know it could be a little bit hard adjusting, but all of our doors are open. And like I said, we're all very welcoming.
And we like each other. So we're there for each other too.
We're fun. We have a lot of, we spend a lot of time together and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that we're out of time, but I'm so glad you all came. If you think of questions later and you want to reach out, please reach out to us and let us know. We'll get right back to you. Reach out to your admissions counselors. What was that? Oh, social media.
Check out our social media.
Do you have the addresses?
So 2 Instagram accounts, actually 3. One is Studio 1851 Lasell. One is Lasell Fashion. And what is the collection? Lasell Fashion Collection. Yeah. Those 3 Instagram accounts will show you a whole bunch of things that we do outside of campus, on campus, and give you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that we do. So check those out and absolutely email any of us if you have any questions or comments or anything. We would be very, very happy to answer those.
Great. Thank you. Oh, I see you all put in. So we will all, I'm going to put in my email too if anybody has a question. And everybody else can do the same. And that way you guys have it. And hopefully you'll get to make a decision about where you're going next year. And I wish you all the best of luck. I know it's been a challenging year for those of you that are seniors. I have a senior myself. It's been interesting, you know, and we will try to do our best to make the year end maybe better than it started when we see you on campus. Okay, so take care.